when he was getting in the car to leave for the last time here. I told him to be careful, you know, and this is watch himself, John. Last words he said to me, he said, "I'm no martyr."
Is that right?
That's right. He said, "I'm no martyr."
No kidding.
So on this particular day, the 13th of February, the boys and girls of the high school had what they call the Dia del Cariño, the Day of Affection, which in other words is Valentine's Day. The practice at that time, and in my time too, was that on Sundays the boys might be walking along the street and they would be picked up by soldiers, recruited in other words for the army.
Okay, it was February 13th.
And I recall it was a Saturday, February 13th, 1982.
So James was coming home after this party, and he wanted to make a repair on the outside of the building. So he was doing this and was finishing the task, and had sent the boy in with the tools, and he was picking things up, when these three men that had been a half block away, behind the cathedral, approached rapidly, just an ordinary dress.
The brothers called. I think, Billy, you took the call initially because you kept saying that they keep calling. He said, "What? I don't know what's going on." They're at the
I
hospital.
think he was on.
When I returned from Mankato, I got to 807 Summit, which is where our headquarters was at the time. And one of the brothers from the community met me at the door.
I will never, ever forget the sound of her voice on the phone. It was just something abnormal. I mean, it was so flat, it was so deadpan. And she wouldn't tell me what was going on. And she said, "Louise, you and Rich just need to come up to the farm."
And when they were a few feet in front of James, he was leaning over and he stands up.
And carrying guns, came by and he was shot.
And all three of them emptied their guns into him.
I kept saying, "Is it Dad? Is it Dad?" And she says, "No, it's not your father." I hung up the phone and I turned around, and on the television they had a news bulletin.
Brother James Miller had been shot and killed.
It said that Brother Jim Miller had been killed that afternoon.
A priest had been killed in Guatemala.
The boys told me that they heard the shots. They were in the room right above and leaned out the window and saw the end of it. They heard the shots. I don't think they even saw Brother James, but they saw the men standing there shooting. And one of the men looked up and saw them, so they were terrified that something would happen to them.
I remember looking at my husband and saying, "Priest, no." I said, "It's Jim. He's dead."
And not for 45 minutes did any policeman show up just a couple blocks from the center of town.
He didn't go out looking for him. He just went about his business and we found him.
But the immediate concern was what should happen. Should he be brought back to the United States for burial? Should they bury him in Guatemala? What should happen?
Yeah, well, I don't know. It was just a tremendous shock.
Townspeople all gathered and carried the body for miles to the airport on their shoulders.
But it was really tough.
I think there was a tremendous outpouring of support and loyalty for Jim Miller and the work that he did, in the sense that his body was accompanied to the airport by a march of the people of the town. He was flown in a small plane from Huehuetenango to Guatemala City. I think there was a mass there with the apostolic delegate, and then eventually the body was flown to St. Paul, to Minneapolis, St. Paul.